Greetings, salutations, what's good everybody, it's your boy Card, here with our partner in crime.
Hey guys, what's up? It's OTK.
And today we're here for Solo Leveling episode 3 of season 2. Last two episodes have been breaking the internet, especially the last episode. I did not realize that Solo Leveling had another like showing in the movies, and what they did was show the first two episodes as together as a movie in theaters. But what they didn't show was the very, very last part of Soul Leveling, which was the whole misunderstanding between Jinho, Sun Jinwoo, and Homegirl that was in the car. Because people were just like, yeah, when people like you said, you were right there with Jinho, like that's a whole misunderstanding. Like, yo, bro,
Yeah,
she's underage, and that he's like, yo, sir.
and I'm sure he's at a point right now in his journey where
Yeah.
he's like not even looking at girls like that.
Yeah.
Like it's just like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
no, yeah.
It's all
what?
about his mom. Yeah,
Right.
that is it. That's
He's
all
he's a
thinking
man
about.
with a plan and a man with a goal, and he don't got time for the hoes. That's what it is. He don't got time.
Oh man. Well, hopefully he'll have time for other characters. We'll see. I guess let's jump into this and press that play button. Oh man. I was like, God damn, what's going on here? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I guess this is the first time Jinho's seeing. Yeah, first time he's seeing the people in
Shadow
action.
Army.
Yeah. Oh man. Makes everything much easier.
I'm a fan of not. I'll talk about it after the episode. Arigatou gozaimasu.
Oh no. What the? What the? What? What? Wait, what? Alright, hold on. Alright. Oh man. I ain't
You
gonna
know
say
how you
nothing.
can tell that they're English speakers? It's so fun. Anime is so funny. Anime is so fucking funny. How they draw English speakers, like Americans and Brits, versus how they draw Koreans and Japanese people and Chinese people.
Yeah.
All the time. You just know.
Yeah.
The little mustache,
Yeah.
the way the hair is shaped, you're like, oh yeah, they're probably from the UK.
Yeah. I'm a little surprised. I like I said, I think I mentioned before we began recording, like I don't remember what was happening next in the arc for Soul Leveling. I because there's like a gap in between what I know is gonna happen and what just happened concluded with the last arc. So that's why I'm just like kind of surprised that it's this early for that character we just saw. But I ain't saying nothing because I kind of spoiled people in my reaction video by saying why would they show this character this early on the trailer reaction. And then I said who the character was, and it's not like, you know, it's yeah. So I ain't making that mistake again. Oh man. Looks like we might be getting that anime canon. Haven't had Korean barbecue in a while.
Language issue I have with anime. Oh, to talk about it after.
About how they pronounce things?
No.
Han. That's the only, yeah, especially because they're speaking English, so they're using his first name and last name instead of doing the Korean version. But they don't know. They don't know. They think he's Korean. Yeah.
Right, and they're like, oh, yeah, that bugs me so bad. Like, I'm just like, wait, when did the Japanese businessmen come to America? Why are they bringing him back? But then it seems like, oh, wait, they're not Japanese, they're American, but they're not speaking
American,
English.
yeah.
But wait, that other guy just spoke English. Why aren't they speaking English?
Yeah. Well, yeah, because they established that they're in America, so they're just speaking, yeah. Not like he got a date. Her, well, she's here. Beyond this gate. That's wild when you think about it. He want the smoke.
On site.
Hello? Okay, this is the FA anime canon. I like this though because they're still trying to weave in the earlier plot. Means he's stronger than him, or you know. Hmm. Everything's becoming suspicious. Icarus, man. With a blink of an eye. Oh man. Sheesh. Feature designs. Shield up. Oh. That was quick thinking. Yeah, why is this man so fast? And this agile, bro. Gotta love logic in the battle. Oh man. Well, I guess the cat's out the bag. Obviously, as Jinwoo's father. Say again?
Do they mention like, oh, he's dead or gone? Do they? I don't remember them mentioning him at all.
They said he just disappeared.
Mm-mm.
And then he's the reason why the mother is in the shape she is in, because the awakening of a hunter. Okay. Talk shit.
Bitch down.
Yeah, she is.
Bitch ass motherfucker.
There's the instead of chance, bro. He's an S rank, you know. Hey, he said the title of the episode. A lot of progress he made. Oh, yeah, just gonna cut it off there. Okay. I need to stop faking. Episode 16. Okay, so that is Soul Leveling. Episode 3, season 2 in a nutshell. Yeah. So the spoiler, which was it for a lot of people were mad that it's like, hey man, why would you say this is dad? I'm just like, it's not like it's gonna be it was one of those where I'm just like, all right, why would they show him in the trailers so early? But I'm like, guys are gonna literally find out in like 2 episodes or 3, depending on the pacing and whatnot, because literally he's gonna say that I'm Jinwoo's dad. Like so it wasn't one of those grand mysteries that people will have to find out like later on, oh, who is this person related to or whatnot, right? But as you can see, Jinwoo's dad is back. He was in a dungeon, and he stayed in a dungeon. So if I think you had a question about this like in the first season, well, what happens if you just don't clear a dungeon? And then they gave you the examples of dungeon breaks can happen if you don't clear the dungeon, but there's also what happens if you clear the dungeon and don't make it back in time, right? So yeah, that's what was one of the other questions you had, and I was like, well, you got to wait to see. And Sun Jin Woo's dad was I guess you could say fits that category of, well, you can clear a dungeon, but what happens if you don't make it back in time, type of deal, right? And so he's been gone for a while, a very very long while, and now he's back in America. So that was, I guess that was one of the and to give context, where Hong Dong Suk, basically the guy who just got bodied by someone Jinwoo's dad or had to come back to America, was for this. So while the Red Gate was going on, this situation was happening. So that's to give context to like where the time frame was happening. So Hong Dong Suk coming all the way back to America to deal with this and deal with Sung Il Han, basically Sung Jinwoo's dad, was the main situation. Then he just got bodied. Yeah. So but yeah, so they did mention also, Sung Jin-woo's dad beforehand. More so, he awakened, and due to the awakening, it's worse in effects pretty much. The more powerful you are as a hunter, the what's basically the illness that the mother has is due to, the power that basically Sung Jin-woo's dad, Sung Il-han, has. So that's why the mother is like that. Yeah.
But why does someone else's power affect someone else such a negative way? Do they
So
explain that
yeah,
eventually?
yeah. No, no, they said it before already. So magical is the magical energy,
Mhm.
that it's emitted by people.
Mhm.
And the constant exposure to that magical energy, especially for people who have not awakened, can put them into what Sun Jin Woo's mother is currently going through.
Okay.
So it can happen to Gina. It can happen to anyone. It's just that the more the higher rank you are, the stronger the effect, right? If Sun Jin Woo's dad confirmed S rank, then the effects are just that more drastic.
Mhm.
Which is why they also are afraid whenever two S ranks fight each other, because
Mhm.
it can bring catastrophe.
Mhm.
Which they mentioned it last episode, but now you've seen this episode, just from a little scuffle. The magical energy that they have, it just can alter the entire like landscape, especially when they clash in power. So
Mhm.
when you had the A rank hunter slash from the association stop the two S ranks, he was able to stop it because they were holding back, right?
Mhm.
And the after effects of that was just his clothes being torn and everything, right? But there's no one that was stopping, these two, Han Suk and Sung Il-han. And then you have all this like the shoot, like as you saw, like the whole town was like literally blown up, a portion of it. So yeah, so all hunters give off magical energy, and the stronger you are, the worse it can be for the people around you,
Mhm.
if they don't have magical energy themselves. But there's another instance where they will cover it with another character, and you'll be hearing from their perspective when it comes to hunters and the I guess you could say the scent, and people will know if they what that means. But you'll be seeing that soon. They'll go into more detail. I don't want to go into further detail so you can learn more about it. But that's pretty much just summarizing what we've learned about them so far. Yeah,
Mm. Okay.
yeah.
Alright. So let me start from beginning to end. My thing is when Jinwoo goes on raids,
Mm-hmm.
it's the same problem I had last episode. When he
Mm-hmm.
goes on raids and he uses his shadow army, it doesn't give
Mm-hmm.
anyone else the opportunity to skill up or level up,
Mm-hmm.
right? Obviously, they don't level up in the same way he does, but
Yeah.
it doesn't build their skill, right? It doesn't build their stamina because he's taking the brunt of the
Mm-hmm.
fight, right? That's
Mm-hmm.
just my issue. Like just with any team makeup like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you just have one character that the story or the fight just
Mm-hmm.
focuses on, but that one character then somehow amasses their own personal mini army, whether it's
Mm-hmm.
demons or
Mm-hmm.
what have you, and you don't let your other characters participate in the fight as well. I mean, I
That
understand
yeah,
when you
because
when you have a character that can't like his sister's friend,
mm-hmm.
um like let's say she
she's E-rank.
right.
Yeah.
So she's a little bit weaker, but like
To
the
to
the
I could so let me just better explain this for you. So the E ranks, right, in terms of power scaling
Right.
and what they can do. So as you already know, everyone's capped. So there is
Yeah,
no
yeah.
learning like new
Well
skills.
well, no, no,
Yeah.
I know that, I know
Yeah.
that, but it still goes to my first initial thought in the first season with Jinwoo
Mm-hmm.
was like, well, you can't build stamina if you're just standing around doing nothing. You can't build perspective and
Mm-hmm.
tactical knowledge if you're just standing around doing nothing. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
observing, sure, observing you could learn, as we all know, that,
Yeah.
sometimes taking a step back and looking at the battlefield is a better tactical advantage than being thrown into the melee.
Mm-hmm.
My worry is just okay, so I just
Yeah.
want everyone to know, I understand the story. I understand that this is a story about Jinwoo. I understand that it's a power fantasy
Mm-hmm.
and that from you explaining the manhwa to me, I understand that it's really just about his journey. For me though, when you start adding more people to his journey, it starts to slowly also become their story too because they're participating, right? So I'm just looking at it in the sense of if you want him just to level up on his own so that we can
Mm-hmm.
see how powerful he's gotten, then you have him do raids and dungeons by himself, right?
Yeah.
Which is fine. But then when he participates with other people and other people don't get to participate, then it's just like I'm back to my first initial thought with Jinwoo was like, well, these people are never gonna learn anything
Mm-hmm.
because now he's around.
So I do have a
Like,
point for that, right? So based off what you just said and what you would like to see, right? The raids all start off with these people doing exactly that, and Sun Jin Woo is not doing anything. It's only when the raids or the things that basically, because Sun Jin Woo right now is capped at E rank,
yeah,
right? So because he's capped at E rank, he's not gonna have to do anything but just do like grab people's bags, do a little like grunt work and whatnot. So that's what you've seen in all the raids so far. It isn't until he makes a deal with Jinho, who has seen his power,
yeah.
that he now is doing everything right. So
Yeah.
so that's my counter to your point on that one
No,
because Jinho,
again, which
yeah,
I understand. Like I
yeah,
completely understand the structure of the story, the structure of how it's plotted.
yeah,
It just again, just like it was bothering me with
yeah,
Jinwoo, while he was like it's you have they have to if you're gonna have characters in the story,
yeah.
to me, they have to do something. It,
They are.
like
That's I guess that's why I'm confused about the point because Jinho is doing something.
No, no, not
It's
him.
not. It's
Not him, not him.
yeah,
I know he's always doing something. I'm not
yeah,
talking about him because he is doing something. I'm talking about in the first season. Remember how in the
yeah,
first season where he was like all skinny and sad and shit? And I
yeah,
was like, okay, but why, bro, why aren't you taking a jog? Why aren't you
yeah,
lifting some weights until he gets the gaming system and then he starts
yeah,
really focusing? And then it proved my point of, yeah, well, if you personally build up, it doesn't matter what your
yeah,
rank is, you can still train your body in other ways so that it helps you in the fight in these dungeons,
yeah,
right? 'Cause I think obviously you've read the whole thing,
yeah.
so you know what the total outcome of the story is, but for me, he his story kind of proves my initial point, right? Where you it doesn't it's also like a life thing, right? It doesn't
Mm,
necessarily matter where you're capped at in life, you can still build other skills to help you survive and get through. You can
yeah,
help build other talents and things to help. Doesn't matter what your profession is, doesn't
mm,
matter what your size is, it doesn't matter what your height is.
yeah,
Just practice, do something, eat better, lift weights, right?
yeah,
So that's just my thing, right?
yeah.
So when I see him use the shadow army when other fighters are with him, like his now
It's
little
only Jinho. Yeah.
yeah, that's his little brother's name now,
Well,
right?
yeah.
His now little brother. Um I don't what is his rank? C? That's his rank?
Jinho is a C rank at the moment. Yeah.
Okay. So he does have at least some capability, right? He survived for a while without before he met Jinwoo.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's like, when he says to him, "You could at least let me do something." I was like,
Mm-hmm.
"Yeah, let him do something.
Mm-hmm.
Let him do something." So, I just hope going forward, it isn't just characters going, "Hey, I can do something too,"
Mm-hmm.
right? "Hey, I'm just background noise at this point." Like, that's
Mm-hmm.
just what I hope going forward because 2 episodes in, it's like any characters that are with him have now
Yeah.
been regulated to background noise. That's just how I see it.
Mhm.
Um, that there's just that. Um, Now, yeah, I talked about the language thing halfway through the episode. Um, Understanding what Jinwoo's doing. We're back to that dungeon. Um, and then meeting his father and then understanding what'll happen with a person who does get trapped makes a lot of sense because basically it's just taking what we saw Jinwoo do in the last episode where it's just like, okay, well, we kill the monsters to eat
Mhm.
the meat, we survive, we figure out a way, we understand the terrain, we get stronger, da 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 da
Mhm.
da. Right? When I'm watching him talk to the what's the red shirt guy's name?
Uh, Hwang Duk Suk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When he's
Dad, the
talking to him,
dad. Yeah.
yeah. No, yeah. When I see him talking to the very obvious dumbass,
Hmm.
it's always that thing of when you have a character who you need to get information out of, but you always pick the wrong person to talk to them.
Yeah.
The person who obviously doesn't care and doesn't care about what information they get, but you send them anyway, and it's just that happens
Yeah.
in a lot of stories. It's not just this. It's just very a particular story beat that I don't like
Hmm.
because it's just like you're sending a dumbass to talk to someone who you want information
Hmm.
from, and you know this dumbass doesn't care about any information, so you're not going to get any information at all.
Yeah.
What's the point of sending the dumbass?
That's the
Sending the
thing.
dumbass in the room,
That's the
right?
thing. We as viewers know he's a dumbass or feel
Right.
he's a dumbass. Them in the universe because he's S rank and he's done
Right.
this before, and they feel he's capable.
Right.
That's the
I
thing.
think
Yeah.
it's also because since he's one of the leaders of the like obviously we're
Yeah.
gonna I hope we get
Yeah.
more into
His story.
their their story, right?
Yeah.
I think it's also that thing of, well, this is the bad boy of the company, right? He's the bad boy of the company. So maybe if we give him menial task, it'll
Mhm.
change who he is. And it's like, it never works.
Yeah.
It never works. This guy
Yeah.
doesn't care about paperwork. It never works. Stop trying to change the bad boy because it's
Yeah.
never. Then what happens is destruction happens because he's a fucking bum ass, dusty ass bitch and has to be put in his place,
Yeah.
right? When instead you could have sent cat guy,
Yeah.
redhead fire cat guy, and he would have been like, okay, yes,
So
taking the
different.
notes.
So to explain why they wouldn't send the red hair guy, right? One, he's in Korea. Hong Dong Suk defected from so you understand where his story is at right now. Hong Dong Suk deflected from South Korea to the U.S. So that's why people call him a traitor. And that's
Mhm,
why there was animosity with our White Tiger Guild guy
mhm.
against Hong Dong Suk when he showed up at the gate in the last episode. Hong Dong Suk was living in America because he
America.
deflected, and the only
Yeah,
reason he came back to South Korea is because his younger brother was killed or
killed,
died,
right,
right? Which he
right.
suspects it to be Jinho, but he now has thinks that it's Sun Jinwoo who had something to do with that death. So in America, where all this situation is happening with Sung Jin Woo's dad, that's why Hong Nok Suk was called there because he was the only S rank available to
Right.
handle that
So
situation, to talk
right,
to
they
him.
sent
Yeah,
so he flies from Korea back to America to interview his dad.
yeah,
Right. Fair. I understand. But again, it is very much just like you've been around this dumbass for so long, you know you're not gonna get any proper information out of your prisoner, so because technically
mm,
he's a captive now, not a
yeah.
prisoner. They didn't technically arrest him; they're just holding
But
him.
so
Um,
they to clarify, so they believe he was going to be able to get information out of Sung Il Hwan because he's Korean, and
no, no,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah,
no, no, I understand. I completely
yeah,
understand. They're like same language. They'll talk it out. He'll figure it out. But it's
yeah,
also the thing of when you know a dumbass, when you've known a dumbass for so long, it doesn't matter
yeah,
if the dumbass speaks the same language. It's like I like in
yeah,
my head, I'm like, obviously these characters are fleshed out in a sense in their own world, right?
yeah,
We're meeting them halfway through their personal journeys, except for Jinwoo. We met him at the I don't know,
yeah,
maybe
pretty much in the beginning.
halfway. Yeah, sort of at the beginning, but halfway because stuff happened. We didn't see his mom go like we didn't start with him as a baby, right?
Yeah,
So right, so it's like the start of his hero's journey, but halfway through a life journey.
yeah,
Um, So, like but the people around know Jinwoo's temperament, right? They know what to expect
yeah.
and and but that's what I mean. When with red shirt bum ass dusty ass bitch, enough people around him to be like to know that he's so pig-headed and so driven to not care about anything else but the fight. Why send him to question someone? But
Mhm.
that's a story beat that happens. I'm just saying
Mhm.
it's a story. My thing is I just for me, when I watch shows, it's always like, well, of course a fight's gonna happen, and of course we're never gonna get the information we need. And I know it's to elongate the story, to
Mhm.
elongate this part of the story, so there's more mystery built around it. Because you got to send the person who's gonna bump heads with the prisoner
Mhm.
in order for the prisoner to escape, or to show some sort of like power difference, right? Which is what that's doing.
Yeah.
It's always to me when I see that in shows or in movies, like with a cop or something, or um with when people kidnap someone and they're trying to get information out of them. I'm like, this is the wrong person to send into that room to ask questions.
Mhm.
There are other people in the other room that you could send in to ask questions. Stop sending in this dumbass, because
Mhm.
whatever this dumbass wants, their personal feelings are never going to go under the
Mhm.
objective of the mission. That's just me.
Yeah.
I have a problem with the weird communication standards they have in anime.
Mhm.
It's the same. That's just one thing that I have a problem with in all media, in all like
Yeah.
media like this. Just stop sending the pig heads into the interrogation room, because no questions are gonna get answered, and now we have to wait. Nothing's
Mhm.
gonna like What's gonna happen is everyone's gonna get hurt because he's a pig head, and this guy's just like, look, man, I'm just trying to get home. I'm just
Yeah.
trying to tell you guys what's happening. And this dumbass is like, I don't give a fuck what's happening. He's like, but you should care. He's like, I don't fucking care. And you're just like,
Mhm.
we know you don't care. We know you don't care. Get someone else in here to ask the questions and get the
Mhm.
proper answers. That's all.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah. I guess
Like,
on
I
yeah.
understand the circumstances of why they chose him, but it's a particular story beat that always gets on my nerves, because it's like, this guy just wants to give you information. He just wants to give you information. That's it. He's
Yeah.
there to be like, look, something bad's gonna happen. And then this bum ass is like, fucking care. And it's just like, people should know that he doesn't care.
Yeah.
Send someone else in there to get the answers.
Yeah, like, and I
That's
mean,
all.
for that story beat, I personally like it because if we got the answers now, it's kind of, to me, it's boring. To me, it would be boring if we got the answers immediately now, because it's, you establish that we have a new character, Sun Jin-woo, right? And to me, it makes sense to wait to explain what that story is going to be, because it would then deviate from what we're currently building. That's usually the story beat that what,
No,
yeah,
and
and
I
that doesn't,
understand.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
Yeah, I understand.
yeah,
I completely understand. I know how these types of stories work.
yeah,
It's again to elongate the plot and to elongate this part of the story so
yeah,
that it builds the mystery till the end or at the halfway point.
yeah.
It's just it always pisses me off because it's like, well, this to me, this we I know the outcome of this situation.
Mhm.
Let's wrap it up. Wrap it up. I
Yeah.
knew a fight was gonna happen as soon as he was like, "Oh, your son is dead." It's just like, "Oh God,
Mhm.
you're just looking to get punched in the face.
Yeah.
You're looking." It's like, and it's to show that someone can put the big bad bully down.
Yeah.
It's which is fine. I like when bullies get their comeuppance, but
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, that's it. I mean, I was thinking about Solo Leveling earlier today,
Mhm.
and our like conversation last week, and just the structure of the show itself, and I feel like it's one of those shows that definitely ramps up in the action as the story goes,
Mhm.
and we just have to follow along the mystery as is.
Yeah.
So sometimes they'll be talking. I think, like for me, I didn't really think there would be much to talk about in this episode. And personally, when I look at the scope of the episode, there really isn't.
Mhm.
There's just certain story beats. It's just like the conversation I'm having are just gripes that I have with general storytelling,
Mhm.
whether it's with anime or live action or Western cartoons, movies, television. Just like if this same story was happening on Daredevil or Creature Commandos, I'd have the same issue with it, right?
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I think I enjoy Solo Leveling. I think the animation is very good. Um, I am intrigued by the mystery of the whole thing, and that, you know, it gets me thinking about the structure of these types of situations
Hmm.
and how the creator of Solo Leveling tells their version of this kind of story. And it's not boring. I'll say that. The show isn't boring. Even when we had that filler episode last season, I didn't think that was boring. I
Hmm.
thought it was very important to growing the story. And even as we were watching it, you kept saying, "Oh, this is definitely anime only." I like that stuff because like you said, it's drawing in all the stories of what's happening so that eventually when the your main characters start to connect, we know what they were doing beforehand and what
Yeah,
brought them to the situation. And obviously what's going to bring them to is it Jeju Island? That's the
yeah,
yeah.
that's the
Yeah, that's
where
that they keep
everything is
talking
being,
about.
yeah,
Right.
everything's being drawn to. Yeah,
Yeah. So and then, yeah, introducing his dad and also understanding that, like I've been saying since season one, there's obviously more at play here. There's a higher power at play here, and he confirms it that there's something big happening. As is with these stories, there's always
yeah,
something big happening. Yeah, yeah, it's a good episode. Yeah, just I think my biggest thing is the communication thing. That's
yeah,
my problem with all anime. Just if you're gonna have people speak different languages, just have them speak different languages.
yeah.
Just tell one of your voice actors do their best at an American accent. Go for it. It doesn't even matter if it's twinged with a Japanese accent. Just have them speak English.
They're gonna
So,
start using
like,
AI.
I mean, look, as long as it
Yeah,
always just takes me out. It always just takes me out every single time. Yeah, and I'm noticing a lot because I'm watching a lot more anime over in the last year with
yeah,
you. So it's just one of those things where it's just like, please, if you're going to tell me that they're speaking different languages, have them actually speak
that,
different languages.
yeah,
That's it.
yeah,
Good episode.
yeah, yeah. Nah, I'm not gonna pretty much add on anything because yeah, it's pretty much self-explanatory. The only, actually no, the only thing I will talk about is the anime canon. Them adding more scenes of course, Chaeyen and the leader of her guild, as we build towards Jeju Island.
Mhm.
And because none of that was present at all in the manga, it was pretty much you when we got the Jeju Island stuff is when we got there. Pretty much, bless you.
Thank you.
Um, yeah, that's the so that's why I was like, oh yeah, they're gonna. I was wondering how much anime canon they were gonna do um to flesh out. Like even when he showed up, like that's why I was so shocked. I was just like, wait a minute, we don't see this man until like he's actually in jail.
Right.
What's he doing? And I mean, maybe I'm remembering it wrong, and there was a scene like that that happened beforehand, but I'm pretty sure, at least like, because it's been what? It's been at least 2-3 years since I've read like Soul Leveling, and yeah, it's been a long time. That's why I was like, wait, what's he doing out here? He's like talking to other people too. I'm just like, all right, hold on, maybe I'm remembering things wrong. But then when they and then okay, then they take him to custody, and they have this man locked up because they're like, oh, he's a magical beast. But the other thing to that might fly under the radar is humanoid magical beast. So I don't want that to fly under the radar because they mentioned
And
that.
yeah, I
Yeah.
kind of figured that that was a situation that was happening because they introduced the ice elves, and
Hmm.
I was like, yeah, that makes sense. And the
Yeah.
mages and the knights. I'm just like,
Yeah,
oh
more
yeah,
but more so those are like monsters and they're like, but in humanoid magical beasts having the inclination that they look just like regular humans versus elves, which we know are magical creatures.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I guess for me,
yeah,
because I watch enough fantasy stuff, I was like, yeah, that makes sense. Because if you have, and a lot of sci-fi stuff too,
mm-hmm.
it's just to me, the ice elves are humanoid because they're
Mm-hmm.
shaped like humans.
Like demi
So
humans.
that would,
Yeah,
yeah. But so in my brain, I already led to, well, yeah, it would make sense that there would be beasts that look like
yeah,
Freerin, right?
yeah,
How the demons take on the form of humans to
yeah,
trick humans to kill them. I'm just like, yeah, that makes sense.
yeah,
That's adaption or
yeah,
whatever the higher power is cooking up to and creates these things so to trick
yeah. The
people. Yeah.
trigger. Yeah, yeah. But yeah, we'll leave it off there. We'll catch you guys next week for more soul leveling. As yeah, because now that we're done with this arc, the next arc, okay, yeah, we're like I do believe we will get Jeju Island this season. It's 13 episodes. We're progressing really, really fast, especially because a lot of it was just a lot of fights to begin with. But once again, as I mentioned last week, you'll see more of other people. Like this series is, I guess you could say, really cut and dry. If that's the term.
Yeah, I
Where
think that's
it's
also
yeah,
where yeah, it the show is what it is.
yeah,
There's some thought process, there's some thinking you gotta do, especially when thinking about the system itself and
yeah,
why it was implemented and why the monsters and the gates happen. But it is very much just like, well, yeah, Jinwoo's gotta go.
yeah,
We gotta follow Jinwoo on that goal. He
yeah.
gonna get stronger, and then everything else just happens around that.
Yeah, and then
That's
it's
it.
yeah, because you're gonna really see like the disparity between the ranks,
Yeah.
and the capabilities because it's like, all right, well, as Jin was getting stronger, the things that's happening around him is people are noticing. Like
Mhm.
there's too many inconsistencies going on with Jinwoo, and there's too many questions. Like how does an E rank
Yeah, it
solve
would
these
right.
dungeon problems and whatnot? So that's
Yeah,
where
it
the
would
growth of those characters more so are going to
which is
happen.
which
Yeah.
I actually really like that aspect because it's when you think about like superheroes and
Mm-hmm.
stuff and or people with secret identities and things like that, and then you're just like, man, they've been missing for quite a long time. Where'd they go? Or
Yeah.
hey, Supergirl and Kara are never in the same room together, or like Cal
Yeah.
and Superman are never in the same room together. About right.
Yeah. Like what's going on here? It's
Eventually,
sus. Yeah.
yeah, eventually people are gonna figure it out. Like, oh, wow, okay.
Yeah.
That really bounced off you there, kid. Oh, you don't got no scrapes on your knees? Like, you'll
Yeah, how
have to
does
start
that E
figuring it
rank
out,
keep
right?
on, like, because
Yeah,
they introduced reawakening, so it's just like, how is it that he's getting this strong? How does the E
yeah,
rank clear a dungeon? And I gotta think in E rank, like something ain't
yeah,
added up, like
right,
So as things keep on developing in that way, even though he's like on this one track, gotta save mom, everyone else is looking like, all right, wait, we might have the next big thing here. Like there's
right,
multiple people. There's like Hong Nok Suk. I want to kill this man, but I didn't think he was gonna live. Now
mhm,
his father just bodied me. So what's going on? Now the man just wants to smoke with the entire family, right?
yeah,
That's gonna be him. Then you got Jinho. Jinho's like, yeah, I got a new big brother because my other big brother, he's trying to take over the company and give it to somebody else, but I want it.
mhm, right,
But as Jinwoo, we gotta see how that's gonna develop. The sister, she obviously knows that there's changes with him physically,
yep,
and just wondering like how is he able to like do a lot of things, right? Well, that's another arc right there. You got the White Tiger Guild, and eventually it's gonna be that Chahe, and so there's like it's a lot of things that are happening, around him, and I think that's probably more. I think you'll find more interest in the things around him,
yeah,
and then when things come to a head, because when it comes to the battles the real growth I'll say will be, of course, with Jinru and then his army, right?
mhm,
As what they were trying to like kind of illustrate, I guess you could say in this particular episode, where it's like the people that's in the Shadow Guild, well, but we call it Shadow Guild or whatever, right? Like they're still maintaining bits of personality, even though, like Tank, for instance, which is the bear, and oh, I was about to spoil something, but let me stop there.
right.
Yeah, we stop
I
there.
just wanna
Yeah,
say for, like, the Goblin King,
yeah,
it's that thing of don't ever judge a book by its cover, and if
yeah,
you read a lot of fantasy, you watch a lot of fantasy, you know that don't assume that the bigger character is sloth. Never
yeah,
assume that the bigger character is slow. Never assume that they're not agile, because then they will fucking rock
yeah,
your shit in the
yeah,
blink of an eye.
yeah. And
Always.
yeah,
That's like a really big trope in this stuff that it's
yeah,
either you look at the big tall guy and you're like, "Oh, he's an idiot," and then it's actually I'm a well-read I'm a well-read guy, like, and
yeah,
he's like the smartest person on the team, but because he looks big and he fights with a club, they're like, "Oh, that's a fucking idiot," and it's like,
yeah.
"He's not."
Yep. And
Um,
then he out there almost getting smoked like
uh,
immediately. So
it's like, I bring it up all the time. It's like Nick Frost's character in Into the Badlands, where
mhm,
Baji, he's a bit of a dirtbag. He's a swindler, up to no good, a liar. So people just think he's that. And then
yeah,
because Nick Frost is a bigger guy, Baji is a bigger guy. They're like, what are you gonna do, Biggie? Like, what are you gonna
Yeah.
do, Tubby? And then he's all like, pop, 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 flip, 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 flip,
Immediately, yeah.
flip, flip, kill, kill, kill. And I'm just like, exactly. That's exactly it. It's one of my favorite things. And I think people
Yeah.
also forget that, I guess because, when you watch a lot of this stuff, a lot of time the bigger character is always the stronger and agile character, even if they're on your team, right? It's always like the bigger monk
Yeah.
or the cleric. I mean, no, let me not say cleric, because a lot of times if they do have a cleric that's a bigger guy, he's like the meek kind of guy. But
Yeah.
yeah, when you look at someone with like, who doesn't look like they fight, they tend to always be the strongest, sweetest guys, unless they're evil, then they become like that very stereotypical, disgusting, he eats with his hands and it's
Yeah.
all over his face and stomach, and but he still will rock your shit kind of thing. So
Yeah.
yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. When he's all like, how's this guy so fast? It's like, well, duh, he's fast. He's probably duh. I saw that guy, I was
Yeah.
like, yeah, that guy's gonna get up. That guy's gonna be behind him. It's Joarida. And I would
Joarida.
and if he wasn't using his logic, it would have been.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh man. Well, with that said, folks, we'll be catching you guys next week. More soul leveling. So stay tuned, everybody. Hostess.